Okay, so this is my first morning of doing my behaviour observations. I'm down here just by the lake, just on the outside of the forest here, which is just behind the reserve. And we've got a group of elephants over here mud bathing, some here grazing, and then some going down there at the water's edge for a drink as well. So I've got 4 test subjects that I'm doing behavioural observations on every 2 minutes. And so hopefully at the end of this I'll have some good data to then compare when these elephants are then released into the wild. So here we go, it's pretty warm out here and I'm exposed in the sunshine, so it's going to be fun. This here is one of my test subjects. I don't know if you can see, but she's got a T sprayed on either side of her back end so that I can recognise her. Otherwise I think you'll appreciate I'd have no chance of telling who's who between 42 elephants. There's another 3 in here. One's got a collar on and one's got an N on its backside and the other one's got an S, but I can't see those at the moment. It's pretty warm now and thankfully all the elephants have come under the tree for some shade, so I think I've decided to join them rather than roasting out there in the open sun. So I think the elephants are just probably heading back towards the shelter fairly soon for their next feed, which will be the end of my recording for a couple of hours. Okay, so this is my second day of filming out here and recording behaviours, and here you can see I've got the orphaned elephants that I'm monitoring here, but way over in the distance across the other side of the lake, you can't really see it from here, but there's a little group of wild elephants, so hopefully they stay over that side and don't come anywhere near me, otherwise I'll have to run. And here we go, it's blisteringly hot, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and thankfully I've nearly finished this session because I've had about as much as I can take for the heat for one day. The elephants have just come out of the lake, something I would love to get in there and do, but unfortunately I can't. It doesn't seem that clean after the elephants have just been wallowing in it and whatever else, but okay, here we go. So as I've walked around the corner after seeing the male elephant, there is also a herd of buffalo which are in the way to my way back, so I've got to take a nice detour around the outside to avoid all of these. This is an absolutely amazing feeling, being surrounded by all of these. Today is Saturday and the time is just after 7 o'clock, so I'm just going out to do my early morning behaviour report. But I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning collecting fecal samples from the elephants that they produced overnight for the cortisol assay. It's always a pleasant experience at 6 o'clock in the morning. The first thing you do is pick up a load of elephant dung. So here we are, it's a beautiful morning. Hopefully I can go and find some elephants because I'm not sure where they've headed. I saw them heading this way about half an hour ago, but they could have moved into the forest, which could be fun trying to find them. But there we go. So it took me almost 40 minutes to find the elephants this morning because they were in the forest. But as you can see here, it's always much more easier to find the elephants when they're out on the plains. So I'm just doing my second viewing of the day and we'll see what we can find. I seem to have befriended a companion on my behavioural expeditions. I'm hoping he'll be a watch out for the wild elephants, but I'm sure when it comes to it he's probably just going to scarper and leave me to it. But there we go. Here I am just following the herd over to the water because it's in blistering sunshine and I'm sure they're going to get wet and cool off whilst I have to sit and sweat it out and watch them. Come on then, little guy. Today is Tuesday the 20th of March and I have just today arrived at Kandy, the town where the vet university is based, and it's here where I'm running the ELISAs in the lab with the help of one of the students here. So this morning I left Udawalawe Park at 2 o'clock in the morning to get a three-wheeler taxi to the local bus station, and then get a 5.5 hour bus journey, which was in really cramped conditions. The Sri Lankan buses aren't suited to someone over 6 foot, unfortunately. So it was a pretty horrible, uncomfortable journey with 45 samples of elephant feces stored on ice. So when I got to the lab, I then proceeded to do the first part of the ELISA, which is the extraction, which involves weighing out 0.5 gram of each of the fecal samples and then dissolving it in methanol and then extracting it that way, which took quite a long time. So I've been on the go since 2 o'clock this morning. The time is now 6:30 and I finally arrived in my new accommodation, which is pretty good actually, seeing as I've had pretty basic accommodation out in the national park, and I come here and I have a nice double bed with pillows, a nice shower, so I'm really feeling the comforts that I haven't had for the last few days. Typical foreigner abroad, coming here and enjoying the shower and the luxuries. But yeah, it's pretty good, and have a nice 8 o'clock start in the morning to carry on running the ELISAs. So all going well so far. The equipment's arrived from Vienna, the lab in Vienna that sent it over, so hopefully all going well. I should have my cortisol data in the next day or two. The time is just before 5 o'clock at the moment, and today is the last day I'm going to go and do observation and fecal collections of the elephants in the wild after they've been released. They were released 3 days ago now, and this is my 3rd day of going to watch them in the wild, and which means getting up at early o'clock to get out there and do some observations early in the morning, which is the most active time in the wild. Since they've been released, 5 of them were released on 3 days ago, and it was thought that they would stay together as a 5, but unfortunately that's not happened. They've split up into what's known as 3 groups now. 2 of them have gone together, with another 2 going together, and one's gone its own separate way. And the one that's gone its own separate way doesn't have a radio collar on, so that animal hasn't been located as yet, but it's thought she's just gone off with some wild group, so unfortunately I don't have any data or fecal collections from her, but hopefully over the next coming weeks she'll show up, and we might get some data from her. But I've since so far collected fecal samples from 4 of the animals that have been released. One of the animals that was released with a collar on, the collar didn't work, so yesterday we actually managed to locate the animal and change the collar. So hopefully now this morning we'll be able to locate the rest of them, and go and luckily collect some feces if I see them passing dung during the time, and also get some behavioural data on them, because when they're out in the wild they're actually quite difficult to get some behavioural data, because they say between 600 and 650 wild elephants within the park itself. So once they actually move off from the grassland areas into the forested areas, it's not possible to get out and go and follow them, because the likelihood is there'll be some other wild elephants within the area, and it's just totally not safe to get out of the car and just to go and collect some behavioural data. So I'm completely reliant on them being down near the grasslands, feeding around there to collect some behavioural data, so that they're within eyeshot, and which tends to happen first thing in the morning. So hence getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go off and catch them at first light. But yeah, hopefully they're all down amongst the grasslands, and hopefully they're all the collared animals are together, and so that I can get some good data from them. He's free.
ඔක්කොම